Hey, besties and bosses. Happy Tuesday. We are live. I'm excited to chat about today's topic. We are going to talk all about saying no to money to make more money. And I think this is going to be a really good topic. As it always happens, whenever I plan one of these, it seems to come up with clients. So it's also been a really relevant topic with my clients I'd say over the last week. A few announcements before we dig in, and yes, I am not at home. As we can tell by the backdrop, I am upstate and I found a little nook to hop in because I wanted to make sure we had our live today and that we talked about this. I'm hoping the Wi-Fi works. The lighting isn't great. We're just gonna roll with it. We'll see what happens. No, may come in, may not come in. We're just gonna see if we can get this to work, but it looks like we've got the Wi-Fi connection, and y'all just let me know if we have anything funky happening on the other end of this. Quick announcements. Next week, we have our free training in the group, Create Your 2020 Business Blueprint and Money Map. Really excited about this. This is an extended version of the client journey that I've created over years, building my own successful six-figure business with five-figure income months, as well as what I've really seen work for my clients to, quite honestly, have results that are much bigger than mine. This is a fun training. I really enjoy this, so be sure to sign up for it. It's next week, next Wednesday. Facebook, in the top of what's that little banner in the Facebook group? If you click on that, there is a link to sign up for the training. I'll make sure we drop a link after this live as well. And if you're on my email list, tomorrow I have a really fun email going out to you. I've never done this before. I'm sharing a client case study, a look behind the scenes with a client that I've worked with for a year, and I think it will be really exciting, inspiring for everyone to see what's possible in a year, how much growth is possible in a year. And my intention with this is really to show you what's possible and to inspire you to see how much you're capable of, because I know so often, at least for me, I so often need to see what's possible in other people first to know that it's possible for me, that I can have it and be it. So I'm hoping this will act as a really great example for you. So check your inbox tomorrow. I'm really excited about this one. I've never done that before, so I think it'll be fun to share. And who doesn't like seeing the behind the scenes of stuff? All right, let's dig into today's topic. Say hi if you're live. And as we're going through this, let me know if you have questions, reflections, if you've experienced this to be true for you, because I do know this is a concept I've talked about before, and I also know because it comes up with clients, it can be confusing, and it can also kick up a whole lot of resistance. So I think it's one worth revisiting and digging in a little deeper around. And again, we're talking today all about that idea of saying no to money to open you up for more money so you can make more money. And what I'm really talking about is saying no to money now, money opportunities now, sometimes saying literally no to making money in your business so that you can open yourself up to exponential income impact growth in your business. What I think happens with this concept is a few things. I think can be really confusing as to what this means, and I think that's one part of it. I think we're not entirely sure why this is so important, and I really want to drill in today why this is such a crucial concept in business. This is one of those things, if you can really understand it and implement it in your business, I promise you'll see massive growth in your income. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to promise, but I believe it that sincerely that I'm going to say I promise. And I also want to talk a little bit about where some of the resistance comes from, just to normalize it a little bit, because it is completely normal. I come up with resistance around this. I know my clients do as well, so we can chat about that a little bit as well. And I'm just laughing, by the way. I think every live stream, just so you know, these are all different black tops I have. I just have a whole closet of black clothes. I think from like here up, I look like I'm wearing the same thing that I do every single week, and just kind of laughing because I can see my reflection here. Okay, so let's talk about this concept first. What do I mean by saying no to money to make more money? What does that mean, and what doesn't it mean? What I'm talking about is getting really clear and focused and narrowed in on your core offer in your business and saying no to all other money opportunities until that one core offer is like making money, like chug-a-lug. It is so easy to make money, to market that, to sell it. Your sales funnel and sales process is just like super, super easy and rolling, kind of like I could do it with my eyes closed. That money is coming in before you add on another offer. And until then, literally saying no to money and other money making opportunities. And we're going to talk about why that is important. So sort of that idea of one core offer, and until that is consistent and easy, and the money is rolling in really consistently and easily, where you just know how to kind of turn the faucet on for that revenue, not adding in other revenue streams. What I don't mean by this concept, and I think this is where it gets confusing. First thing, what I don't mean is don't have a side gig or don't have a side hustle or don't have a job to pay the bills while you're building your business. I think this concept of saying no to money to make more money can sound a little bit like, oh, Kim's saying I should quit my job, go all in on my business, not have any money coming in because that's the way to make more money. And I want to be really mindful that I'm clear that that's not what I'm saying. That is such a case-by-case situation that is so different for everyone, and there's so many factors that go into that, and that would never be something that I would blanketly recommend. I personally, just for some transparency, look behind the scenes of my business. I'm very open about this. I started my business with a 9-to-5, and I kept a part-time job for a long time in my business until I was really close to 6 figures. I might have even been making 6 figures when I quit my part-time job in my business. For me, that's what was really important and what worked. And so that's not what we're talking about here at all. We really want you to hear that that's not the idea here. And I'll just, as a side tangent note here, Adam Grant talks about this in the originals a lot. I think there's a fallacy, a concept we have in the online space that unless you're willing to quit your job and just to go all in that way, that you're not successful, and that entrepreneurs have to be really risky to make money in their business. And that's actually been debunked. Quite a lot of successful entrepreneurs have been found to keep their side hustles or keep their jobs and not have that risky mentality when building their business. And so for anyone who is having a side hustle or needs to find a way to support themselves, that's not what this is about at all. And oftentimes having that side hustle or support to have revenue coming in is a way we're able to support ourselves, get out of that desperation, that needy energy. It helps us focus, quite honestly, and allows us to invest in our business, because businesses take money to start, and it often takes money to create results. So nothing wrong with that. That is not what we're talking about here at all. We're also not talking about the very normal pivot that can come up for business owners, really anywhere in business, but particularly in that first year of business. And what I mean by that is, and this comes up for a lot of my clients who are in their first year of business, this was something that happened for me. When we're starting a business, that first year, so often we're getting clear on who our audience is, what our offer is, what our zone of genius is, what business model works for us. And there's usually a time, not for everyone, but for some people, where we do have a pivot because we've gained clarity through the actions we're taking in our business. So it's a very normal thing. And then there tends to be a pivot, which means we are usually offering something new or something different to people. And this can sound like the same thing, what we're talking about here, getting really clear on your one core offer and only selling that and being focused on that and saying no to all other opportunities for money so that you can increase your revenue, your income. The whole thing with a pivot here, that's a completely different conversation. I just want to offer that because I just know how common that is and super, super normal. Happened for me, happens for a lot of my clients, and I really want to offer that for anyone watching. If you are in that space, it's a very normal thing to have a pivot and further along in your business as well. So we're not talking about that. That is not what this is about. Really important there. And I just want to make sure we're normalizing that as well, because so often when we're in this space, we hear so much about choosing the one thing, going all in. You know, what I'm talking about here today, saying no to making money and to going all in on your core offer. We hear a lot about the importance of niching and ideal clients and audiences and all of that. And it can be very confusing when we are in the place where we are thinking about pivoting. And if you're in a place where you need to pivot. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, side tangent there. The other thing we're not talking about here, I'm just looking at my notes because I want to make sure I'm clear on all of this. Other thing we're not talking about here are micro offers, micro commitments, smaller offers you have as a part of a very strategic sales funnel or sales process that lead to your core offer. We're going to talk about this a lot next week in the free training when we're talking about building out your business blueprint and your money map. Sign up for it. I think it's going to be a really great one. I know. So we're not talking about that. We're really talking about that core offer. And we're going to talk more about what I mean in a moment, but I want to be clear here that we're all on the same page. So if you have a micro offer, if you have a micro commitment, if you have a smaller offer that is that's part of a strategic sales funnel, not what we're talking about here at all, just so we don't get it twisted and no one's burning down their business based on this live stream today. What we are talking about is the tendency I see for entrepreneurs, that we'll talk about why this comes up, to want to do all the things in business and to start to get some traction in business and to not trust themselves or to not trust their offer, or to have seen someone else doing something online, or to have heard a message online about the way to make money, or to think that the only way, to make money is to have all these different revenue streams, and to start adding on multiple core offers before you're at a place in your business where that makes sense. And what we're talking about today is saying no to the money from additional core offers or money-making opportunities that might come in before you have your core offer working on repeat and hitting a revenue consistently that you have decided ahead of time makes sense for you, that is kind of your sustainability point in business. So for many people, that's going to be six figures. For some people, it's going to be above six figures, $500,000, $1 million. For some of you, it might be $50,000 a year. It might be something completely different. But before your core offer is hitting that revenue goal for you, really being intentional and clear and disciplined enough to say no to those money-making opportunities that can come in. And we're going to talk about why this is so important, because I know this sounds counterintuitive. I'm all about making more money doing what you love. Why would I tell you to say no to money? Why would I tell you to say no to making money from other revenue streams? And I'm going to tell you exactly why, because it's really, really important that we understand this, because this is one of, I've talked about this before, I think this is one of the best things I did for myself in business that absolutely allowed me to have 24K a month, to have these consistent 5-figure months, that allows me to continue to scale my business without working more. And it is absolutely what I see clients who have incomes that blow mine out of the water, that have results that blow mine out of the water. What I've really seen has helped them to grow, build, scale their business to exponential growth has been what we're talking about here. And it is not easy, you all. This takes some discipline can sound like a dirty word. I think it's a great word in the context we're talking about here. It takes some discipline. Hopefully, as we talk through this, you'll understand why this is so important. I think this is maybe a helpful way to think about it. If you think about your core offer, the main thing you offer in your business, what your business is centered around, that first main core offer, if you think about that as a main dish, you're eating a meal. Let's pretend you're a restaurant, you were serving someone a meal, a main dish. What you wouldn't do is expect someone to order 16 main dishes. It would be lunacy. You also wouldn't order even 3 main dishes, right? If you were sitting down at a restaurant, you'd look and you'd order 1 main dish. Maybe you'd have an appetizer to, whet your appetite, but you'd have 1 main dish, unless, I don't know, someone's wanting to play devil's advocate here, maybe unless you're training for a marathon or something like that. But other than that, you're going to order 1 main dish. It's the same thing for us in business. We want to get really clear on 1 main dish, and we want to make it like the best meal we've ever made, make it so tasty, really perfect that recipe so that people can come in, they know what dish to expect from us, and they just order that dish from us and feel really fulfilled and satiated and satisfied, instead of either trying to cram 14 dishes into someone's, down someone's throat and having them feel full and distended, or offering so many dishes to someone that we're making a bunch of dishes that kind of taste good, that we're kind of doing okay at, where we have food going rotten in the back because no one's ordering it. I'm taking this analogy too far, but y'all get what I mean. Or where, someone really never gets the benefit of enjoying the meal we're delivering to them because there's just too much choice and they can't really make a decision. This is what happens for so many of us when we're not saying no to money and we're trying to say yes to all the money-making opportunities. Instead of making more money, we tend to hit a ceiling and stagnate or make no money at all. Let me know if this is making sense so far. I think this is common sense, but I want to make sure, let me know, just feel free to pop a question or reflection. Y'all are very, very quiet today if this is making sense. And let me just check my notes here. This looks like, for example, let's say you offer a one-on-one service like me, deciding before that is, hitting that revenue goal you've decided on, and really easy for you to sell, and you really are clear on that sales process, that sales funnel, deciding to add on a membership and a group training program. And then maybe you're got a course the next month. This is what I'm talking about when we have too many meals that we're offering people instead of that one delicious, amazing, tasty main dish that we're offering. What happens, super normal, super normal. I did this at the start of my business. And again, this was one of the best decisions I made, was to get clear and look at all the dishes I was offering and get clear on the one core offer I wanted to offer first, and essentially say no to all the other offers that were bringing in revenue. I know I've shared this before, but for those of you who haven't heard that before, I had a couple different offers that were bringing in revenue. It's not like they weren't making money or they weren't successful. They were bringing in money. Saying no to those, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do, is what allowed my business to grow more. Because when we focus on one thing, and there's a book, The One Thing, this is not a new concept, it gets all of our attention, and a couple things happen. From a marketing perspective, what this does for people is it really helps our audience to understand what it is we do and how we can serve them. So there's the rule of 7 in marketing, which is the idea that people have to see an offer 7 times before they're ready to buy. I think in the online space, I don't know the stats on this, I think it's something like 17 times now. It might be even more. But essentially, someone needs to see your offer multiple times before they're ready to buy. When we have splintered our focus and we're offering a whole bunch of main dishes, you have to multiply the number of times someone sees your offer by the number of offers you have. Because otherwise people aren't picking up what you're putting down. They're not able to understand how you can serve them, how you can help them, why your offer makes sense for them. Is this making sense? So if you have, let's say, 3 offers, and let's just go with that low end number 7, that's 21 times you need to get in front of people if you wanted to sell all 3 of those. And I really think the stats online are something more like 17 times. So it makes selling so much more difficult and your marketing so much more difficult when your focus is splintered. Forget what this does for you. Let's just think about marketing and sales for a moment here. If we're talking about just the money you're bringing in. And so while you might bring in some sales when you have multiple offers going at one time, it's taking much more effort, much more work, and you're losing people along the way because they're having to see all of these different messages, all of these different offers, to try to understand what it is you do, how you can help them. Versus when you're really clear and focused and you can keep showing up in your marketing and repeating what it is you do, what your message is, how you serve people, what your offer is, it makes things so much more streamlined. It makes it so much easier for your audience to buy from you because they're able to pick up what you're putting down. They're able to understand. They're also able to see the offer enough times in a way that makes sense for them, so they're able to connect the dots and purchase or hire you. Let me know if this is making sense, y'all, because I know, again, very quiet. So let me know if this is making sense. Let me know if you have questions as well. On the back end, so that's just in the marketing and sales, what we have to think about what is happening for us when we get really clear and focused on one offer. What happens when you keep doing something over and over and over again? And you're deliberately practicing and you're showing up in the same offer, you're doing the same thing, and you're repeating something. You get better, right? It's kind of impossible not to. I know I'm a damn good coach for my clients because I was always a great coach, but one of the reasons is I keep showing up and doing the same thing. I work with 15 to 20 clients a month. I'm working with clients every day. It's impossible not for me to continue to grow and to continue to, exponentially expand my ability as a coach and my service, which allows me to make more money because I'm able to add more value for my clients. That's not an accident. It's the same for you. If you continue to show up in your offer, offering the same thing over and over again, it's impossible for the quality that you're delivering not to grow, for you not to get better at what you do, for your course, your program, your membership not to grow in value, which makes it impossible for it not to increase the value it brings you, right? If we think about money, it's that energy exchange for the value we're delivering. If you're increasing the value of an offer, of course it's going to make you more money, versus when you're trying to do more than one thing before one is working really well, selling 2 programs at the same time. You're going to have 2 programs that are quite honestly half as good, right? I mean, I think this makes sense. If I'm trying to be a gymnast and I'm also trying to be, a soccer player, I'm probably not going to be as great at both sports if I just choose one and go all in and focus all my energy there. Does that make sense? I think Maria Forleo is a really great example of this. Love or hate her in the online space, irrelevant. I think she's just a really great example of this concept of really honing in on an offer and really working it until it works and seeing the benefits from that and seeing how saying no to other money-making opportunities blows up her income. Marie Forleo, for those of you who don't know her, she sells a course called B School and now a course called, it's a copy course. She started out as a coach. She definitely did group coaching and masterminds in the past, and then I don't know how long B School's, someone will have to tell me how long B School's been around for, but when she started B School, she sort of burned the bridges and got rid of all of her other offers. And B School is incredibly successful. It's a course she launches once a year. And y'all, she has just rinsed and repeated this. And what has happened is the program has gotten stronger. She's added, she's refined the program. That's great for the revenue she brings in. And kind of bringing it full circle to what we were talking about before, her marketing. It's getting in front of people. She's known for that. People know to expect that this program's coming. And here's what happens for us as well. The marketing gets better and better and better. The sales process, the sales funnel gets better and better and better, because every time you launch the same offer, you make the same offer, and you rinse and repeat it, you're getting data back in business. You're testing, you're refining, you're tweaking, you're getting that data and feedback so that you can do it better the next time around. And this is when business becomes easy, and it becomes easy to make money in business because you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You don't have to guess. Versus what happens, I think, so often in the online space, which is what I'm talking about when I'm saying say no to money, is we launch something once, we have an offer, it does okay. Instead of staying with it and staying with it and staying with it and saying no to other opportunities or making money other ways, we try something new. And then we try something new. And then we try something new. Or we try to offer that buffet of meals all at once. Is making sense? When we do that, we should reinvent the wheel. We don't have any data to go off of. We're going blind every single time we sell this offer. We make this sales funnel. We go through our marketing plan. Is making sense, y'all? Versus if we take again a look at Marie Forleo, one of the reasons this is so successful, her program, love or hate it, I don't think it's anything completely revolutionary, all the love and respect for her work. What I think is absolutely brilliant is the way she has really owned the space with this program, because she's been willing to have a core offer, and the way she markets it and has just mastered that marketing year over year over year, because of exactly what we're talking about, the benefits of that focus and staying with something until it's working to really see that money come in. And what would have happened if, she could have easily started offering 14 other things because of her audience size and because of how much people trust her much earlier on. There's a reason she didn't. It's because that would have splintered her focus. It would have splintered her marketing data and results, the marketing ability and ability to sell to her audience, and it would have splintered her income. And it's only in the last few years she's offered this copy course, and it's exactly the same process we're talking about here. Hey, whoever just joined, let me know if this is making sense with y'all. I think this is something we don't think about when we're in business and something is thrown in front of our face. It's like, oh, I can make some quick money with this. But so often, as soon as we jump on that, we're saying no to more money later. And I just cannot drill this in enough. And I know the resistance that comes up around this, and we will talk about that in a moment. Just seeing here what I wanted to share here, just making sure I don't lose my notes. And so really here, the whole thing we're talking about here is this is the way making money in business becomes really easy. When we hear business is easy, I know that can be so irritating to hear online. It used to kind of grate on my soul when I would hear people say that, but business really can be easy, and business can really start to feel easy, and making money can be easy. However, usually when someone's saying that, it's when they've done exactly what we're talking about. They've taken the time to sort of burn the bridges, say no to money making opportunities, to hone in on that one core offer, and to keep honing that process, that marketing process, that sales process, the quality they're delivering on the back end, and rinsing and repeating and rinsing and repeating, getting that data so that it can become really easy, so they can know what to expect before they ever offer anything else. That's when business becomes easy. That's when people say business is easy. So much of that ease comes from exactly what we're talking about. What wouldn't make that easy is taking that process and then getting impatient, or the money not coming in fast enough, or the first time you put something out, then deciding to do something new, and then deciding to do something new, and then deciding to do something new. got a cool grandfather clock behind me telling me that I've been talking for a while, but we're not done yet. Let me know if that is making sense, y'all. I'm just seeing here. Other thing that's important here is this isn't just about saying no to making money in our own offers and essentially, burning the boats when we have more than one thing before it's that really well-oiled machine in our business. It's also about the offers that can come in from the outside world and being really mindful about those as you're growing and scaling your business. And sometimes we have to say no to opportunities, even the ones with money signs attached to them, in order to increase the revenue in our own business and increase the ease in our business. So I'll use myself as an example here, but as my business has grown, in the last few months alone, I've had quite a few opportunities that have money attached to them in terms of partnerships or affiliate programs or teaching in something that would bring me some revenue. And it's really tempting when someone's saying, I will give you money, all you have to do is this thing. It's really hard to say no to money that is staring you in the face. It's sort of like if you're on a diet and someone makes like the best freaking pie or cookies ever and they put them right in front of your face. It's hard to turn down that awesome dessert. However, sometimes we have to say no to money now to make more money later. And so what I mean by that is I was literally talking with a client about this today. Sometimes an affiliate opportunity will come in and there's like kind of easy money attached to that. But I know if I say yes to an affiliate opportunity, one, I'm taking the focus away from what I'm offering in my business, what I'm marketing in my business, what I'm selling in my business. I also know to do anything well, it's going to require effort and attention and focus. And I also know I'm taking away some of the trust and opportunity I have built with my audience to offer someone else's work or to sell something else. And so while I might make some initial quick money, long term, it's going to cut into the revenue my business can make as well as the impact I can make in my business. And it's something, sometimes we have to think long term and say no to those immediate opportunities to make that long term revenue in our business. And this is a whole different conversation. I think integrity can come up around that a lot as well. And I think keeping that in mind, staying in that integrity with your offers is a really big, actually no, integrity completely makes sense even in the context of this conversation. I think integrity is a great place to check in with. Is this offer in integrity with my core offer and what I stand for? If it's not, it's an opportunity, even if there's money attached to it now, that isn't worth saying yes to. That means trying to create a slapstick program just because you think it'll make you a quick buck, or being an affiliate for something you've never used before. All things that might make you some money now, but they're not going to help you make money long term because they're out of integrity. Does that make sense? And this is just another example of saying no to money. Not the easiest thing, I get that, so that you can make more money long term. If you're understanding this, if you have any questions. Last thing here, just to kind of flesh out what this looks like, because I think this is important, and then we'll talk about some of the resistance that can come up around this. The other way this can really come up, and I see this from a lot of my creative entrepreneurs, I think it's very, very common, very normal, is that desire to build more than one business at a time. And it can be sneaky because if you're starting two businesses at the same time, it's like I've got a core offer here and I've got a core offer here. They're not competing with each other. So it can seem like that's not what we're talking about. However, it's exactly the same thing. I really invite you to start one business at a time and to, put a business on the back burner, because it's the same concept we're talking about in terms of that focus of energy. It's hard to do two things well, to do them really well. It's hard to make exponential growth from an impact and an income perspective really well with two things at the same time. And sometimes we have to put something on the back burner, say no to something, so that we can have one thing work really, really well for us, so that we can, again, whatever that revenue goal is for you, that is happening sustainably on repeat without a ton of effort, with that ease and flow, before you start another business, before you start another offer. Even though they might be a different target audience or different market, and it might seem like they're not competing with one another, they're still competing for your attention and your focus and your energy. If your energy is depleted, if your focus is depleted, if you're splitting your attention between two things, you're kind of going to grow two things half well, right? I know there's the concept of don't put all your eggs in one basket, and I think in some cases that's true, except for in things like relationships and in business. I'm going to say not true. Put all your eggs in one basket. If you're in a relationship with a partner, you want to put all your eggs in that one basket, right? Like, you don't want to date around. That wouldn't be a committed relationship. In business, put all your eggs in your business and in that one core offer. Don't put all your eggs in other baskets. Because then if we think about, well, we'll talk about that in a second, because I think if we think about that, it just means you got eggs all over the place, and you got to try to be mindful of all of them. If you are a mama hen, instead of having one basket of eggs to keep warm and let hatch, you'd have to go over here and over here and over here. And while you're over here, there's a wolf that's going to snatch this egg, and this egg is getting cold, and you're just going to end up with this other egg that isn't going to hatch, because then you're running away from the one you're sitting on to take care of. Silly analogy. Y'all get what I'm saying. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down. All right, let's talk about, and then I will let y'all go because you're very, very quiet, but I think this is such an important thing to drill in. So we understand why it's important to say no to money now, to be able to make exponentially more money later, or even in the immediate future. We've talked about what this doesn't mean. We've talked about what it does mean. We've talked about why this is so important, from our personal focus and energy and the quality we can bring to our work and the level of expertise we can reach in our work, as well as what this means for our marketing and our sales process, and how important this is if we want something that's easy and that we can rinse and repeat, that allows us to continue to grow and scale to new levels. Let's talk about some of the resistance that can come up, because I know it's like you might be understanding this, and yet there can be a whole lot of resistance to saying no to money that's being presented to us, to something that might feel really easy, to an opportunity, to, the 500 webinars that are telling us, yeah, but if you just do this thing, you'll make some money. It's not always the easiest thing to say no to. So let's just talk a little bit about that resistance, because I do think it's important. First thing I will say here, this is something I experienced when I quite literally, this was first year and a half in business. I actually had a membership that I said no to so I could focus on one-on-one. And then I opened up a group coaching program, I think a little too early. It was profitable, it was making money, and I chose to. I decided to say no to it and to close it out and not to relaunch it, so that I could do exactly what we're talking about. Really focus all in on my core offer and just really have that become that easeful, effortless revenue, and to have, got messages popping up, have that growth we're talking about here from a personal level with the quality of work I'm delivering, as well as from that marketing perspective. That wasn't an easy thing to do. It's like you're literally seeing that money in front of you. And the way our brain is wired, we tend to experience more resistance and pain with things we have to give up or with things we lose than with the potential gains we can have. We feel that more succinctly. I think it's a survival mechanism. It makes a lot of sense, but we feel more resistance, and it's just how our brain is wired. If I'm going to take something away from you that you already have, which is why certain things in marketing can work quite well, versus if I'm promising you're going to get something later. So immediate loss feels way more painful than future gains. Does that concept make sense? And so when we're talking about here, having an immediate loss of income that's sitting in front of you can feel like super painful, even if we know there is potential gain as a result. And that is just the way your brain is wired. It's very, very normal, so I want to normalize it. That does not mean that that is rational, logical, or that it serves you. And so I would invite you, if that's something that's coming up, just to know that's normal and to see what you need to do to kind of normalize that and take a look at your business and actually get clear on what would serve your business and your business growth. obviously I'm not having a one-on-one conversation with everyone here, so I don't know the ins and outs of your business. There are exceptions to every rule. However, I'm going to say for the majority of people, this concept here, it works. Focusing on one thing, doing one thing well, having one core offer in your business, and only offering that until it is at that consistent revenue with ease is going to be a pretty solid strategy and way to go for the majority of people. So I think that's just know how normal that is. Just because we feel something doesn't mean it's true, but we tend to feel more resistance, more pain. We feel it more acutely when we are losing something than the idea of potentially gaining something. This is why in marketing, if we say something's going away, this is your last chance, this sale ends in 24 hours, we're more likely to want to jump on it because we could lose that opportunity. We are like serious, like case of FOMO, than if someone were to say, buy this in a week and I'll give you $5. Silly example, but I think y'all understand what I mean. If I said in 24 hours you're going to lose the chance to save $5 versus wait a week and I'll give you $5, you're probably going to not want to lose that $5 opportunity. Does that make sense? So that's just one of the reasons we have some serious resistance around this, but I think this is just one of those things, that's how the brain is wired, but that does not mean it's actually rational or serves us. A lot of times our brain, because of how we are hardwired, some of our reptilian brain, some of those evolutionary constructs in our mind that served to protect us when we were hunter-gatherers don't necessarily serve us in present day and aren't necessarily logical or rational and don't actually make sense in business. And we want to see what's going on so that we can respect that part of our brain, but get clear on, is there actually a threat here and what do I need to pay attention to my business so I can actually have that growth. Sometimes our business really asks us to separate that emotion out so that we can really logically make those decisions in our business that best serve our business income and impact. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so going back, we talked about the eggs in the basket idea here. I think this is where the I'm like sitting on my knees, y'all. I need to just stretch a little bit because my leg was falling asleep. I think another reason we can resist this concept is we hear so much about the importance of diversification and of having multiple revenue streams. And so I want to be, again, just mindful here. Multiple revenue streams are awesome. I've just helped a client scale her business to $1 million or 7 figures and multiple revenue streams. They're awesome. We're not saying don't have multiple revenue streams. What I'm talking about here, and we want to be really clear on, is getting one revenue stream working seamlessly, working really well, making that money on repeat, hitting that revenue goal before adding on another revenue stream, and saying no to other opportunities for money until you hit that ease, that consistency with the one offer. And so this is where some of that resistance can come from, I believe, because we hear about these concepts online and we don't necessarily understand how they make sense for us in business. I also think with that, we can have a lot of scarcity come up in business, right? So I think a lot of times thoughts of scarcity, there isn't enough out there, I'm not gonna be able to make enough money, I'm just all sorts of different ideas that tend to come from a scarcity mindset, that belief that there are limited resources out there, there's a limited amount for us out there, can really drive our decisions in business and cause us to try to do lots of things or have multiple offers or to say yes to things in the moment because we're afraid opportunities will go away. We're afraid that if we, a lot of fear wrapped up in this, we're afraid that there will never be another opportunity or that we won't get that money later, right? Which is where thinking we were just talking about can come from. So there can be a lot of this scarcity mindset, which will drive our business decisions. Again, that is coming from an emotional place and not from that logical thinking of, oh, if I'm operating from this place of scarcity and I'm just grabbing these opportunities because I think there isn't something else, I'm not only, of course, there's always something else. And I think having that abundant thinking can be more helpful and serve us more, but I'm actually shooting myself in the foot and I'm just basically making sure that there won't be as much because I'm depleting my personal resources, I'm depleting my energy, I'm depleting my marketing resources. So by operating from this scarcity mindset, the irony of this is it tends to become a self-fulfilling prophecy where we do limit ourselves, and there does tend to be more scarcity in our business. Does that make sense? And so it stems from scarcity. I think that's where some of the resistance around this concept can come up, and it tends to perpetuate scarcity and become that self-fulfilling prophecy. And then I think what else can drive the resistance around this concept? Really what we were just talking about. There's so much fear underneath the resistance that can come up around saying no to money and opportunities in the moment to open yourself up for more money, for more impact, for more growth long term. There can be a fear of there not being enough. There can be that fear of things not working out. There can be that fear of, well, what if I go all in on this offer and people don't buy it, or it's not good enough, or I don't know how to do it? I think sometimes we hedge our bets because we don't trust ourselves, right? And so if I don't really trust myself, I don't really trust my offer, it feels a lot safer to split my focus and to do a lot of things. And then I also don't really have to notice, or I have that built-in excuse that, well, this isn't going as well as it could have because my energy is focused, or because I don't have the time, or because I'm so busy, or I don't really notice because, I've got all these different things going on. I think sometimes we muddy the waters to create that confusion so that we can feel safer, or we have that excuse built in for ourselves. Does that make sense? And I think that can cause a lot of resistance, because otherwise we kind of have to take a real look at what's going on for us in terms of that self-trust, that self-belief, that belief we have in our offer, in ourselves, in business, in allowing this offer to scale to whatever income level we desire. Am I making sense, y'all? And I think, I had another thing here this was the other thing I was going to offer. I also think, quite honestly, and I will raise my hand on this is one that I'm constantly having to revisit at every up level in business. I think we tend to have a lot of resistance around things being easy and around simplicity. As a whole, I work with a lot of high achievers. I work with a lot of very driven entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of people who are like myself, have learned and been raised with that story that hard work equals success. Hard work equals money. You have to work hard to make money. And I think there can be a lot of our ego, not egocentric, but just our ego and our self-worth wrapped up around working hard and being busy and pushing and how difficult things need to be. And so when there is something being offered to us that simplifies a concept, or that makes things easy, that is saying this is a way to make business easy, this is a way to making money easier, if part of our story, if part of our belief system is, but I get my self-worth from working hard. When I work hard, people give me a gold star, or I need to work hard to make money. It is like our subconscious is kicking up, all the like sirens and kicking and screaming. And of course, we're going to have resistance to whatever that concept is. Super, super normal. And so what I would offer, if any of these resonate with you, is just to check in and see what's actually coming up for you here, because then that becomes the real thing to take a look at and address versus this concept. And then you can address whatever thing is coming up for you, whatever is causing that resistance, so that we can take a look at this concept and really get clear on would it make sense for me to maybe say no to a money-making opportunity, to maybe say no to some ways I'm making money in my business right now, so that I can open myself up to make way more money long-term, way more impact long-term in my business. See if that is resonating with you. Let me know as you're watching this on the replay as well if you have any questions or if that makes sense. I'm going to give you a quick recap here, and also a reminder that we do have that free training next week on creating your 2020 business blueprint and money map. And a lot of what we're talking about is really going to be taking this idea here and extrapolating on it so that you can get clear on, if you have your one core offer, how do we build a business blueprint around that and money map so that you know exactly how to show up and what to focus on and what to ignore to be able to make money on repeat in your business. And this is a concept that I've pulled from a lot of places over the years that I've made my own, and really I've seen it's what's worked for me in business and what works for my clients. So I think it'll be really fun to go through, and it piggybacks so well off of this concept today. So be sure to sign up for that. I'll make sure I put a link below, and you can also click on the image at the top of the Facebook group if you want to join us for that next week. And then just as a recap for those of you watching now and on the replay, and please feel free, reflections, questions, always so open to them. really this invitation, this concept today to take a look at your business and look for those areas where your focus is being splintered. And is there an opportunity to say no to immediate money so that you can make much more money in the long term, even in the immediate future, because of the focus it brings you in your work, in the level of service and quality you're delivering in your products and services, and the focus it brings to your marketing and that ability to rinse and repeat and really mine your marketing for that valuable data that allows you to continue and grow and to refine your sales process so you can make much more money. See if there's an opportunity for that. Get clear on some of those things we talked about that are what we are talking about here in terms of saying no to money or saying no to those opportunities so you can make more money, and be clear on what we're not talking about so that you're not burning down things that are actually serving you in your business. And then if you are feeling some of that resistance coming up, I really invite you to just check in on where is that resistance coming from. Really get normalizing and seeing, oh, this is a completely normal thing for me to have some resistance. Work through the resistance so that you can come to your business with a clear mind that has the emotions separated out so that you can make that really clear, logical, best decision for your business impact and income growth. All right, that's what I've got for you today. I hope that recap helped. I hope this was helpful for y'all. Again, you've been very quiet, so please drop any of your comments, reflections for me, and then I will see you next week for our training, and send a whole lot of love.